When I first came to the Dominican Republic, it was only supposed to be for 3 months. But something crazy happened here that completely changed my life. And honestly, I was never expecting that this would happen. So just to give you a little bit of my backstory, like I mentioned earlier, I was only supposed to be here for 3 months. Then I was gonna plan a trip next to Bali or Thailand or Costa Rica. And as you can see, almost 2 years later, I'm still here in the Dominican Republic. There's a saying that says, if you wanna make God laugh, tell him your plans. And that definitely happened with me. So I've actually met my girlfriend here, and then she introduced me to a side of the Dominican Republic that most tourists have never even seen. And the first thing that completely shocked me about the Dominican Republic was a sense of community here. When my girlfriend first took me to her barrio in Verón, Punta Cana, by the way, this is a place that so many people had told me not to go. It's dangerous. I can remember driving in an Uber and I was leaving from Bávaro to go to Verón to go hang out with my girlfriend. And he was like, "Are you sure that you're going to Verón?" And I was like, "Yeah." At the time I had no idea. And he was like, "Be careful." And I said, "Okay, I'll be careful. I'm with people that are from the area, so I'm sure I'll be fine." And of course, 2 years later, I've been all over Verón. I've lived in Verón, La Doble Via. You can see here the images. I've never had any issues. And often what I find is that people are often scared of what they don't understand. I've never really had any issues or felt unsafe in these areas. And what I found in these areas and in the Dominican Republic in whole was something that I hadn't really experienced in the United States. For example, neighbors actually talk to each other, and not just your casual, "Hi Susie, bye Susie." Like literal conversation, just sitting outside on the porch, drinking coffee together, chisme, or what we call the gossip, chisme. I also saw a lot of kids playing outside, which you don't really see too much of that. It's almost like a flashback to the 90s in some sense when I was growing up. You know, I was one of those kids outside playing, but you don't see that anymore. Kids are so glued to their cellular devices, their telephones, their iPads. Although you do have a little bit of that here, there's more kids out in nature, in the pool, running and playing around. People actually being friendly and saying hello. Neighbors may come over and actually ask for a cup of sugar. Like I said, it's a little bit like a blast back to the 90s living here, because I'm so used to being in my own world and in my own space in the United States. That isolation, that coldness of people, everybody wanting their space, nobody wanting to be bothered. That simply isn't the Dominican way. And it was something that really shocked me in a good way. I felt more connected to the community. I felt like I belonged, which brings me to the second part that really changed me. It's the family culture. One of the biggest differences I noticed while living here is how family-oriented everyone is. For example, my girlfriend's mother invites me over every week. She's like, "Come over for lunch, I'm cooking." This is something that happens on a daily and a weekly basis here. People will come over, sit down and chat, have coffee. They'll cook and invite you over, and it's just not something that you see a lot of in the United States. People just don't have time for that. People are always working, commutes are long. Really, the time that you have to spend with family and friends is typically on holidays or sometimes weekends, but mainly like Thanksgiving, Christmas, things like that. But this is a normal daily and weekly activity to get together with family and friends. Like family is at the center of everything. And at first it felt, a little strange to me because people in the United States don't really do that anymore. But also it felt refreshing. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like, wow, this is what family is supposed to feel like. Not saying that I don't have that and I don't appreciate and love my family back at home, because I do, but our culture is simply different. We don't really have time to spend with one another. And when we do, oftentimes it's not even quality time. You'll see children just soaked up on their phone. They're not really conversing with their parents. They're in their own worlds, in their own bubbles, or watching TV, or just glued to technology. So sitting down and having quality conversations, quality time with your family is just something, unfortunately, that is disappearing in my country. And it's causing a sense of isolation, which is another reason why you don't really see a lot of homeless population here in the Dominican Republic, because family always has support. They always have a place to go. You may see tias and tios and primas and your hermanos and hermanas all living together, but you don't see a lot of people sleeping out on the street. There's a lot of support here, and that was something that I thought was so beautiful. Even though there are many people who live in the Dominican Republic at a lower income level, they're still there to support and help one another. The second impact that the Dominican Republic had on my life, and this is something unexpected, but my health. So back in the United States, I always had issues with my stomach. For the longest time, I would have this unbearable stomach pain. At one point, I had even thought I had stomach cancer, because I literally felt like somebody was stabbing me with knives in the stomach, and I would be bent over crying in pain. I gone to the doctors a couple times, and turns out I had a lot of ulcers, but ultimately what the root issue was leaky gut syndrome. And essentially, leaky gut syndrome is small holes in your intestines. So food particles, the bacteria gets through your bloodstream, and it causes a lot of inflammation and a lot of issues with your gut. Some contributing factors obviously would be coffee, alcohol, and then a lot of the processed foods that we have here. We have a lot of genetically modified foods, a lot of pesticides, a lot of synthetic foods, essentially foods that are not real. And for me specifically, it was something that my body couldn't tolerate. Some people can tolerate it better than others, but I was very sensitive to these things. I can even remember back in the States, I was working with a real estate company, and I had this large transaction that I had to close, and there was so much pressure on me to get it closed. We were dealing with so many issues with this specific transaction, and it almost didn't close, and my boss was down my throat like, you have to get it done, you have to get it done. And so I, pulling all these pieces together, and I had stressed myself so much. I stressed myself into an ulcer. I could specifically remember closing that deal, getting paid, but then having to go to the doctor right after and spending thousands, even with insurance, to get my stomach fixed. And so I was like, I did all of this work for this money that caused me all these health issues, and I didn't even really get to enjoy it. Just to give you a little bit of the culture, one, the stress environment, but also the food had a severe impact on my health. When I came here, an unexpected thing that I didn't even realize until I was like 6 months in was I'm not having those stomach issues anymore. And in fact, since I've been here, I've never had any issues with my gut. And just to put it out there, I am not eating the healthiest. Now, I do have fruits and vegetables occasionally, but a lot of times, I'm eating the pizza here, I'm eating the fried chicken. I do need to get better with that. I'm drinking beer. That's another thing. I don't have hangovers either like I did in the United States, which is crazy to me. I can only imagine what kind of superpower I would possess if I actually did eat healthy. I'm working on that, you guys. I'm working on that. There's a lot of things in our food in the United States that are banned and are illegal in other countries. Those things make a difference. Now I'm seeing it. So I'm gonna post 2 pictures of me, and you can see me now as well. Here I am in the United States. I'm puffy, inflamed, I'm wrinkled, and here I am now. Also, you can see my face now, and you can see the difference. But the last way the Dominican Republic changed me was in a way that I never even expected, and something I really wasn't looking for. But I had a profound spiritual change here. Now, I've always believed in God, and I did grow up in the church, but I'm not really a super religious person. But living here, something did shift inside of me. And now I find myself praying a lot more and feeling more connected to God. And for the first time in a long time, I feel a sense of peace. But I do want to be honest. For me, and I know everybody's journey is going to be different, the first year wasn't that easy. It was beautiful, it was fun, but I felt like I went through a purging, kind of a shedding of old emotions, old trauma, old pain, and letting go. Moving to another country doesn't automatically erase any anxiety that you have, any depression, any old traumas. But what it does do is it gives you the space and the time to heal those things, to reflect and to go a little bit deeper. And one of the biggest lessons that I learned was actually my relationship with money and material possessions. When I lived in the United States, I was much more materialistic than I am today. And sort of the lie, I won't say it was a lie because it was true, but my excuse for being so focused on gaining more and more and more was, I want to be in a position where I can take care of my family. And while that was true, there was also another part that was very ego-based. I wanted to flex. I wanted to show people this big house that I have. I wanted a nice car and to go around and be like, look, I make all of this money, proving success. Because in our society, your value is tied to your bank account. It's literally around the world. It's not only in the United States. Classism is a real thing. People get treated better based on how much money they have. But God showed me something very different. And a parable that came to my mind as I was going through this transformation was the parable of Jesus and the rich man. And the rich man came up to Jesus and he told him about all these wonderful things that he did, how he helped the poor, how he followed all the commandments, and what more did he need to do to get into the kingdom of heaven. And Jesus said, sell all of your possessions, let everything go, give it to the poor, and follow me. Now, I'm obviously paraphrasing this, but the point here was he couldn't do that. He couldn't let go of his possessions. They meant so much to him that he walked away sad. And he ultimately missed out on the biggest blessing of his life because those things were holding him down, those material things. And then Jesus looked at his disciples and said, it's easier for a camel to enter into the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven. And I'm not saying having all of those things are bad. There's nothing wrong with having those material possessions. But the question I ask myself is, if I was at that point and Jesus asked me to let go of everything, could I do it? And it made me realize that we put so much weight and so much value on material possessions and not enough weight on kindness, generosity, and love. So when God looks at us, he's not looking at our status. He's not looking at our bank accounts. He doesn't really care how much money you have. He cares about your heart. He cares about your character, your integrity. And he just cares about you simply because you're his creation. And for me, this season in my life became less about chasing money and more about giving back. And when I'm talking about giving back, I don't necessarily mean always monetarily, although that is a good way to give back as well. But you can give back with your time, with your energy, with your love, helping people when you can. Because at the end of the day, when you come to the end of your life, you can't take all of those things with you. And the only thing that will matter in those moments are the memories that you created, the time that you spent with your family and your friends, and the love that you shared with the world. Now, everyone's experience moving abroad is going to be different. But for me, moving to the Dominican Republic had a profoundly spiritual impact on my life. It changed me in ways that I never would have expected, and for that, I'll always be grateful. And I'm so curious to hear from you all if you have moved abroad. In what ways did it change you, or how did it impact your life? Feel free to comment below. And if you connected with this video, feel free to go ahead and like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can stay tuned for the next one.